your girl Lex Nicole. I'm back with another video. It's been a couple of years, but I thought since we're in a pandemic and I have plenty of free time that I would go ahead and post some new content. So recently I was featured in somebody's live stream a couple of days ago. A man by the name of Kevin Samuels. Wow, couldn't even remember his name. That's how irrelevant he is. Anyway, so in Kevin's video, he talked about weight requirements for attracting high value men, whatever the heck that means. And so I wanted to kind of talk about the video and what I feel like a high value man truly is. So basically in the video, Kevin had all these different women calling in, right? And he was talking about how he feels about women's weight and your BMI. And in order to attract a high value man, you have to be a certain weight or they're not going to want to date you, which we know is absolutely not true. But anyway, so I first discovered Kevin's page a couple of years ago. He actually lived in Oklahoma City, where I used to live, and I believe we had mutual friends on Facebook, and then I found out he was an image consultant. And then now, fast forward to 2020, he's kind of like this dating coach, I guess you could say, slash still image consulting for men. So I saw that he had this group on Facebook, and I decided to join because most of the members were supposed to be high value men and women. So I joined the group. Absolutely love the content, love some of the conversations that were going on in the group. And so there were a few times where he had Zoom meetings for the women. And he kind of just went over some things, some guidelines, things of that nature. And I thought it was very helpful, his little Zoom call. So I happened to catch one of his live stream videos on his YouTube. So I see the Zoom link and I joined thinking it's the same type of Zoom call he had in the group. And I see that nobody's on the bridge. It's me and one other name. So I thought it was really odd. And then suddenly I heard him, greet me, and he begins to ask me questions. So I'm thinking, okay, like maybe he's just trying to still just stick with his agenda. Maybe he has nothing better else to do because he's always on YouTube day in and day out. So long story short, he's asking me questions. He's asking me if there's anything that I specifically want to talk about. And I'm like, no, I really just wanted to address like what you had said to that girl, like telling her that she needed to lose weight. And I completely disagree with what you said. And that's all I was really trying to get at. But he began to ask me questions, about my weight, my height, where I was from, etc. And I answered the questions. And a few times I felt like he was getting a little spicy with me, and I didn't appreciate it. And I kind of got a little spicy back, but I wasn't rude. I wasn't disrespectful. I didn't call him out of his name. And then he decided to kind of troll me. And as soon as I was starting to get into a space where I could really just pour out my heart and tell him exactly how I felt, he put me on mute. So anybody who knows me knows that I like to talk with my hands sometimes. So if you put somebody on mute and this is a person who talks with their hands, it's gonna appear that they are like being aggressive and defensive. And I absolutely was not being defensive at all. I really just wanted him to understand that we did not want to push women into spaces where they felt like they had to be skinny, because we already have enough people in the Black community who are obese. we don't need people to have anorexia or bulimia. We don't need that to be prevalent. We have enough issues in our community. And so basically, I was very disappointed that this high value man, would put me on mute and try to embarrass me the way he did. And I wasn't embarrassed. I mean, it is what it is. I was on there in my natural state. I had just left the gym, no makeup, had gym clothes on. My hair was in its most natural state ever. And I was authentically me in that video. And I have to own who I am. And I have no problem with doing that. So really my whole issue, with the video is, number one, you claim to be a high value man, but you feel like it's necessary to troll young Black women. And he does it often. I'm not the only caller who I felt like he was getting a little spicy with, and he does this, pretty much anytime he has a video. And so we really have to reconsider what a high value man is. According to Kevin and his followers, a high value man, number one, is a man who has a high earning, has the finances. And while I agree finances are important, I feel like you can be someone who isn't wealthy and still be considered a high value man. You could be making under $50,000 a year and live in the hood and still be high value. The idea of being a high value man, in my eyes, when I first came across the term, I thought of a man who essentially would be husband material, somebody who was charismatic, well-spoken, educated, someone that people in the community look up to, they respect. And that was really what I thought that the high value man was. According to him, you have to have finances, and I think that is absolutely ridiculous. The idea of you having finances is essentially when you have money, you're able to remove yourself from certain environments that may put you in a situation where you can't make the best decisions or you can't authentically be who you are. You're constantly in a mode where you have to defend yourself, being in the hood or being in a area that's impoverished. And so if you're in a space where you don't have a lot of money, you don't live in the best neighborhood, you can still absolutely, if you have the mental strength and tenacity, you can be a high value man without those things. It's about what's up here. And so we have to really, as a community, we have to really reconsider what example we're trying to set for people. As a man, as for Kevin to be probably in his 50s, what kind of high value man would do such a thing? What do we want our young brothers to see? Do we want to, we've seen enough of Black women not being protected, not being put first or taken care of. We've seen that for a couple of decades. So I want to challenge Kevin and his followers to just change their mindsets, right? High value men look for high value women, obviously, and you cannot assume that a woman is high value or not high value because of her weight. A lot of men who have money and who are wealthy, they're in leadership positions, they're executives, they're entrepreneurs. And if you're looking for a wife, a spouse, and the number one thing you're looking at is how small is she? Is she under 125 pounds? You are going to be miserable. What happens when the stock market crashes? What happens when, that business doesn't take off the way you thought it would? who is going to speak life into you? Who's going to support you? Who's going to pray with you? You may have a Barbie, you know, you may have the aesthetics, you may have someone that looks good, but if that person doesn't have any, ability to have, just speak life into you and have wisdom and is nurturing and can cook and clean, what good is having a slim body if you don't have those other characteristics? So I really would like to see the push for high value men to get back to dating women who have some standards. That's what it's all about. It's not just about looks. Our community is suffering right now because we have a whole generation of kids who they're just seeing the glitz and glams. They didn't get to grow up during the Cosby era the era where you actually saw Black people represented on television. They're seeing Love and Hip Hop. They're seeing the YouTube videos of the rappers and the video girls and the video vixens and the Insta models. Where's the example of, other than Barack Obama and Michelle, where is the example of a quality Black couple, high value Black men and women? It's nowhere to be found anymore. And we have to change the narrative. We cannot focus so much on how people look. Yes, Black women, it is important for you to be in shape and be healthy, but your spirit and your soul is number one. When that is in place, when you're in a good space mentally, everything else will fall in line. When you're in a space where you truly love yourself, you will want to eat better. You will want to work out. You will want to be healthy. And that is what we need to be pushing to our community. Not telling women that they're too, big and they'll never have a man. That is not positive. That is so low vibrational. And I pray that these Black men on YouTube, I pray that you guys will change your thought process. I know that you want to get viewers. I know that you want to make sure that you have a following, but we put our community first and then change the narrative. And that's all that I want to say. And I just want to encourage you guys to, we're all that we got. So anyway, thank you guys so much for tuning in today. Go ahead and like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Thank you.
I can't even do shit right here, and you know that, man. Why you doing me like this, man? Everything I do is a fucking problem, G. And I'm sitting here telling you I don't have nobody, man. I'm going through a life too, G. All I know is you, and you really trying to hurt my heart, G. You